Welcome to the very first Hong Kong Beer Hall. So one of my goals for the beer project was to do reviews of the most commonly available beers in Hong Kong. And what I did was I just looked at the top rack that had the 12-ounce cans and just started grabbing cans. So on sale was Blue Ice, which is 5% alcohol by volume. I've never had this beer because Rachel has so far refused to drink it, but it's now in the fridge. We're going to try it. Another one I've never had before is Golden King. San Miguel is easily one of the most common beers in Hong Kong. You can get it everywhere, at every happy hour in Long Guai Fong. No matter where you go, you're always going to run into San Miguel. And Skoal is a relatively new beer to me. I remember it from seeing it at hot pots and other cheap Chinese food joints, where you will often find these things about as cheap at a restaurant as you would at the 7-Eleven, meaning you could get 3 cans of this for 20 Hong Kong or something like that. We tried it for the first time last month, and pretty soon we'll have reviews of all 4 of these beers, and then I guess I just have to drink these other 5. Alright, this is my first ever on-camera beer review. We're starting with what I believe is probably going to be the bottom of the pile, Blue Ice beer. Ice filtered, 5% alcohol. I'm guessing this is the Hong Kong equivalent of your American adjunct lager. Yellow color, I don't see any turbidity at all. Slightly fizzy, no head left already. The aroma comes out, I'd say it's a tiny bit skunky, but not actually as skunky as I would have expected based on some of the other cheap beers I've had here. I don't know, somehow my nose is telling me that this is a rice beer. I don't smell any hops at all. All I get is the malt and the sugar coming out. So let's go ahead and give it a taste. It's the finish definitely moves towards a more bitter taste, or should I say a sour taste. It has a typically light mouthfeel like you'd expect from cheap kind of beer. It tastes sweet. You can definitely taste the sugars coming out in the beer, and not the worst cheap beer I've ever tasted. I suppose I could drink more than a can or 2 of this if I had to. I keep looking at the can here where it says ice filtered on it. Typically, you would expect an ice beer to be a bit on the harsh side and kind of hard to drink. And honestly, for a 5% beer, it doesn't come off really boozy or alcoholy, and it doesn't smack you in the face at all. All right, we're back to do the wrap up of Blue Ice, which is actually the cheapest beer that I bought today. So one of my criteria for my beers that I'm reviewing in Hong Kong is availability and price. And the Blue Ice beer is the clear winner on both of those counts. 73 cents per beer in American dollars. It is also available at pretty much every 7-Eleven and every Circle K everywhere in Hong Kong. So you can find this beer and it is dirt cheap. Having said all that, it's a cheap beer. It is drinkable if you have to. It goes flat really fast. It has this yellow watery texture. It still coats your tongue in a kind of oily type of way. And at first, it hits your tongue kind of like the sour apple juice, which isn't bad. But the problem is, and this seems to be the problem with most cheap beers, that the taste quickly fades into like a sour, not right aftertaste. For as much sniffing as I did, I honestly couldn't detect any hops. There's very little aroma to this beer. It's what you'd expect for a cheap macro. So I'm going to put this slightly below a 2. I can drink this beer, but I know that if I drink a lot of these, I'm not going to like it in the long run. Blue Ice, welcome to the reviews. This is Golden King, and as you see on the can, it says premium beer. So I have very high expectations for this beer. And I'd say this head is a little bit on the frothy, soapy side, it's obviously not going to stick around for any more than a few seconds. We got a fizzy beer here with a pretty plain yellow color, and it's totally clear. First impressions. Sugary beer smell. That's about it. Honestly, at this point, if you ask me to smell the Blue Ice versus the Golden King, I'm about 99% sure I couldn't tell them apart based on smell. So let's go ahead and give it a taste. This beer is a lot different from Blue Ice. This is more what I would have expected Blue Ice to be. It's stronger in every way when it hits the palate. It tastes almost like a malt liquor when it first comes at you, like it's sweet and sour both at once, and it fades. The aftertaste turns like a little bit more sour and kind of darker. Um, on the one hand, I would say this beer has more character than the Blue Ice. The Blue Ice, maybe its biggest fault was being watery, but I'm not sure that I'm going to appreciate that character in the long run. So let me drink a little bit more of this beer and let you guys know what I think of it after I've had more of a glass of beer. So this beer starts out tasting like a real beer. I mean, you take a sip of it and you think, I am definitely drinking beer. This is not water. Impression of this beer is sour, creamy, and a little bit yeasty. That's actually not bad. Those are all attributes that I would expect in the beer. So the aftertaste on this beer, it fades through leather, and it gets chalky, and then it ends up being metallic in the long run with some hints of paper. It just, if you keep drinking the beer, it might be okay. But if you stop, it's not good. The whole mouth experience of this beer is just not probably what you want to drink on a day-to-day basis. 1 3/4. I'd rather be drinking something else.